Hey everyone,
Welcome to InfluencerU
it's your girl Evan,
and Alexis.
and we have the latest and greatest influencers from the Mecca.
We've got makeup artists, designers, photographers, models, and more.
So let's see who will influence you today.
Today, we're going to be talking to the talented photographer all the way from Seattle, Washington, Maiz Lawson.
Maiz is a photographer, director, editor, videographer, and model. In other words, he does it all. He has walked in DC's Fashion Week, and he has also worked with Models of the Mecca here at Howard. So when did you get started with your niche, your career, your...
Um, so I got my very first camera. It was a little film camera, my sophomore year of high school, but I didn't really get into my creative groove until freshman year at Howard, and I actually started taking pictures for real then.
Wow. So that's dope. What motivates you to continue film and, how did you really get into it when you started with your first film camera?
Um, well, my whole family have been really like creatives in the creative industry. So my granny and my sister were both photographers, and so I've always had like an interest in photography, but I never really done it myself. And so when I got my first camera, I was really interested in it, all into all that, blah, blah, blah. And then when I got to Howard, I actually joined this modeling org. And there was a whole bunch of different creatives, different people from different areas in that org. And that's where I really built on my creativity and stepped outside my comfort zone and really got into it even more. And I was really able to experiment with a whole lot of different things.
Wow, I love that. That's amazing. Like it runs in the family. And that's nice to see that. So how do you manage your time? I mean, being a creative, that really takes up a lot of your brain space and all that. So how do you manage your time creating content?
But I will say that I've gotten extremely better at it. I have um, two journals that I use. I have one right here actually. And I also have this big calendar in my room that I make sure to write down each shoot or like project that I have in my mind. Because if I just try to keep it all up in here, I'll probably miss a few good amount of things. So that helps a lot. And I try also not to overbook. I'm I'm a I'd say I'm a creative portrait photographer, but I also do parties too. And I try not to do two like multiple creative projects in a week, but I could shoot like two or three parties in a week and be able to get them back to the people in decent timing. So but if I did like two projects in 1 week, I'll probably like mess up my scheduling with work or school academics, all that. So yeah, I just try to measure everything out. I try not to overbook myself. I try to write down everything that I'm doing and keep that on track. And I also didn't really have a heavy schedule this past semester. I had my classes ended about before 1 o'clock each day. And I'm a TV and film major, so we don't have classes on Fridays and barely any classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So my schedule is pretty free most of the time.
So with your creative projects, where do you find inspiration for your craft?
Mm, I'd say I'd say Black people mostly for sure. Our culture and just observing how we interact with each other and how we interact within our own communities. That's one of the big things I try to tell through my visuals is personality and interactions amongst different topics. And I try to surround myself with other creative people and people with all types of different backgrounds. And so I'm able to observe these different things inside of them. And I really want to bring that out, but tell it through visuals. And I think that's one way that allows me to do that.
So with all of that and all of your creativity, where do you hope to see your business, your craft grow in 5 years, 10 years?
Hmm. I feel like in 5 years I'll still be growing. Um, Definitely want to be more advanced from where I am now. I actually started photography 5 years ago, and so I feel like in 5 more years I may be in a place where I wouldn't even imagine myself being. Definitely want to be working with bigger names in the industry. Um, have a more stable income through it. Probably have my own website set up, be consistently selling prints and that type of thing. Um, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do yet after college, but definitely editorial photography somewhere in that mix.
So, what message do you hope your audience takes away? I've seen some of your pictures on some people's IG story, and it's very eye-catching. So it's just dope. Like, I just love what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that first off. And secondly, um, I say, so like I said earlier, I have two kind of types of different photography. I do creative portrait, and those are more detailed projects, and I also do more in the moment party type photography. And I started off with in the moment type photography, and then I shifted. And I think with in the moment, I'm just trying to tell a story through my eyes and bring people that look at my pictures into that event. And so I want them to be able to feel like they're there in that moment, that they're there looking at what's happening, and they're able to feel that environment, even if it's just them looking at a few pictures. And and I feel like I've been able to do that a few times. I've heard that from people that have looked at my pictures. And then the second type of photography that I think I do, I'd say it's more kind of harder to explain. I feel like I just want them to be able to observe, I guess, and understand the complexity of Black people and the different sides of Black people. And just like I said earlier about how all the types of interaction between ourselves and each other and with our communities, I just want that to be more broadcasted on a larger scale.
I love that. I remember me and Lex were talking about people to have on the show, and we came across your page, and we were definitely really impressed with all the stuff that you had on your page, and even on like some of the links in your bio and everything like that. So I really want to thank you for being on the show today. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank
And
you.
And thank you again. Like, your content is so eye-catching. And like you said, when you posted the part, like one of your party pictures, I felt like I was there. Like, I was like, oh, what's going on? Like, I want to be there, wherever that is.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad.
So if you're a Howard influencer and would like to be featured, please leave us a DM on Instagram at @TheInfluencerU on Instagram.
And thank you again for joining us for another episode of The InfluencerU. And stay tuned for more. And hopefully you also stay tuned to watch the show, Maiz. Thank you again for being on the show with us.
Thank y'all. I look forward to it.